Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Sports Oriented Wokeism Show. I'm your host, Solomon Wafua. This show is all about digging deep into the world of sports culture through its headlines and let you know that these headlines that I'm going to present to you are, you know, or are led from wokeism and letting you know that whatever I'm going to share with you is political, and wokeism has made politics and sports even go on a higher level when it comes to concoction. And so my job is to give you the headlines, the trading stories, and be able to break down the wokeism behind these headlines and let you guys judge for yourselves as to whether this is woke or not, and how do you change the narrative when it comes to such headlines being apparent in society. And that's what I do. And I know this show is like no other, focusing only on the sports side of things, even though others are covering it from other sectors, whether it is politics itself or education wise or entertainment wise. But for me, Solomon Wafua, as your host, I'm presenting it on the sporting side because there are rare or few of such content being displayed out there. And so without further ado, just want to thank everybody for contributing in the previous episodes. If you've not watched it, check it out on YouTube, or also on other platforms that are being displayed on the description of whatever platform you're using. Make sure you follow it, make sure you share it, make sure you like it, subscribe it if you're on YouTube, and get to comment on what are your thoughts on those previous episodes. But for those who are new, from wherever you're around the world, at whatever time zone you're in, welcome. Your first time visitor, I hope this show is going to entertain you and engage you in some sort of conversation on whatever headlines that is happening across the sports culture. But hey, if you don't know what wokeism is a political agenda consisting of both arrogance and ignorance in order to push liberal, progressive policies so as to censor free speech, so as to overthrow democracy, and so as to live a life of communism, Marxism, and socialism all together. That's what wokeism is all about. And I'm here to prove to you guys that if you want to deal with wokeism as a sports fan, then you have to speak the truth, stand for the truth, and call out those who are not standing by the truth and common sense. And I hope that the world will take notice. Yeah, that's it for the intro for those who are new for the first time. But today is going to be about the wokeness slowly dying. And this topic this title I'm going to title it in this episode is called Wokeness Has to Die. This is where wokeness has to die. That's the full title. This is where wokeness has to die. And where is this place that wokeism has to die? I'm talking about Florida. The state of Florida. We all know Florida is one of the best states, either to live, either to work, either to start a business, either it is to even follow sports as a sports fan. And in terms of even safest states in terms of crime rates, that's also a good state to live. And Florida, we all know, is known for being a red state, or should I say a state led by Republicans. And of course, the person who came up with that slogan where it says, this is where wokeness has to die, is of none other than the current Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, who of course bowed out of the presidential race for the GOP nomination, that is the Republican Party. Of course, DeSantis came up with that slogan where it says, in Florida, this is where wokeness must die. And he understood it from an education perspective because that is where the wokeness is beginning. Once you notice the origins of wokeism, or where the engines of transmission is starting from, then you deal with it from the grassroots, then it will be very easy to deal with at the top level. And that's what DeSantis has done. And the headline I'm going to be sharing you today is the headline that has been trending for the past several days, and that comes from the University of Florida, whereby they have eliminated diversity, equity, and inclusion roles across all departments, either it is athletic, either it is educational, either it is philanthropic. All departments, they have fired every member of the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that has caused good news across the Republican Party, including the governor of the state, DeSantis. But of course, we gotta have somebody who is woke, somebody who is uh, not happy, somebody who is mentally unstable. Why? Because the truth has come out, and that person I'm talking about is the NFL legend Emmitt Smith, who, by the way, is the alma mater of the University of Florida. The athletics team of that university is called the Florida Gators. Now, Gators, of course, is the short form for the word alligators, and alligators is a member of the crocodile family. Why? Because Florida is known for, storing crocodiles, having crocodile parks across the state. Either be it at a certain, swamp side related the place that they have bought land and put crocodiles in, or located near the water side across Florida. So that's where the name Gators come from. And Florida Gators is the athletics team of the University of Florida. Now I'll get bits and pieces from the article written by Bounding into Sports, which is a conservative sports and entertainment website slash blog, whereby if you want, views, conservative views on sports, I recommend you go to boundingintosports.com. I believe they have very interesting articles. They put it out there on a daily basis, and I know it's worth following it up. Now, of course, Emmitt Smith, if I paraphrase it, is like, I'm utterly disgusted. I'm utterly disgusted by what the University of Florida has done. Now, let me read to you bits and pieces of what what he thinks about it. Of course, Emmitt Smith, who got his start as a running back for the Florida Gators before going on to win 3 Super Bowls, is speaking out to blast his alma mater, the University of Florida, after the school removed all diversity, equity, and inclusion positions at administrative appointments. Back in January, the Florida Board of Governors passed a law that limited public funding for DEI, defining them as, in quotes, any program, campus activity, or policy that classifies individuals on the basis of race, color, sex, national origin, gender identity, or sexual orientation, and promotes differential or preferential treatment of individuals on the basis of such classification. Now, let's see where the meltdown is coming from. It comes from whereby the University of Florida then compiled with this law by dismissing 13 full-time diversity, equity, and inclusion positions and eliminating 15 administrative appointments. Now, of course, what does a former alumni of that campus do? He throws tantrums. And what does he say? He says, I'm utterly disgusted by UF's decision and the precedent that it sets. Now, he continues to say, in quotes, without the DI department, the job falls to the office of the provost, who already has their hands full to raise money for the university and continue to advance their academic studies in athletic programs. And then he continues to say, in quotes, we cannot continue to believe and trust that a team of leaders, all made up of the same background, will make the right decision when it comes to equality and diversity. You see? The whole purpose of DEI is equality and diversity. Not equality as the original meaning in the dictionary. They don't follow that. And then in terms of diversity, they don't want diversity of thought, but rather diversity of skin, color, race, gender, and sex. That is what DEI is all about. And he continues to say, in quotes, history has already proven that is not the case. And he continues to say, in quotes, we need diverse thinking and backgrounds to enhance our university, and the DI department is necessary to accomplish those goals. He continues to say in quotes, instead of showing courage and leadership, we continue to fail based on systemic issues with this decision. UF has conformed to the political pressures of today's time. Are you sure, Emmett Smith? And it continues to say in quotes, to the many minority athletes at UF, please be aware and vocal about this decision by the university, who is now closing the doors on other minorities without any oversight. He continues to say in quotes, and to those who think it's not your problem and stay on the sidelines and say nothing, you are complicit in supporting systemic issues. Oh, how sweet, how emotional. Oh, what a speech by Miss Smith. Give me a break, man. Come on, man. We all know what DI is all about. Let's be real here. DI is all about pushing the woke, liberal, progressive agenda, whereby it suppresses the white people, the Christians, the heterosexual, people with sane brains, people who can think for themselves. That's what DI is all about. It's all about suppression. It's all about dictatorship, authoritarianism, and communism. That's what DI is all about. So that they use that as a way of a payback for the crimes being committed in the past against the minorities. Or should I call it revenge? DI is a form of revenge. But of course, Emmett Smith, instead of being real and being truthful about the DEI impact on colleges and what's happening across the board, it looks like he wants to follow in line with the woke democratic agenda of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you've seen that happening in the political world when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is their performance index? Should be very, very low. If you look at the press secretary, if you look at the vice president of the United States, if you look at even the democratic lawmakers in Congress, either the House of Representatives and the Senate, you can just see the performance index is very low. That reminds me of AOC, also known as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who got blasted by the pro-Palestinian protesters just the other day out of the movie theater, just because she's been confronted with reality that if you don't support ceasefire in Gaza, where of course there's a conflict between Israel and Gaza, then of course the protesters will have all the receipts against them and tell them, hey, if you don't force Israel to go on a ceasefire, we will not vote for you. And what does AOC do? She started throwing tantrums, being like a baby. Oh, you're making me uncomfortable. Oh, you're going to use this out of context and make it viral on the internet. Yet, she encouraged this when wokeism was at its peak in 2020. Those are the receipts the voters are using against her. That's what happens when you go woke. When you go woke, people will frustrate you in public. If it's as a business perspective, they will vote with their wallet and you'll go broke. And that's what we are seeing across the board. It's not only in sports, but also in politics, in entertainment, in business, in the corporate world, blue-collar jobs, and so forth. And Emmett Smith is not different to AOC. To the point now that those who don't follow the woke agenda of the Democrats, they start issuing threats, just like what Charles Barkley did. He says he's going to punch anybody in the face for those who wear the mugshot t-shirt of Donald Trump. You see? That's what happens when you don't have critical thinking. And I think what the University of Florida have done in my party shot is that they did the best for the country. They did the best for the critically sane people. And they did what's best for everybody, for humanity. They are not going to bow down to pressure, and someone like DeSantis congratulated them. And I hope all states, if they start from the Republican states, the schools located in the Republican states, they call the NCAA Division 1, then I think it's going to be a win-win. Otherwise, I think very soon there's going to be secession. Split the country into two, where you have democratic states on one side and Republican states on the other. But hey, congrats to the University of Florida for setting that trend, and I hope all the other states will follow suit. But that's it from me, from Solomon Wafua, on this episode. Make sure you comment in the platform that you're using. Make sure you follow, subscribe, share, and follow. And really glad to receive your feedback. Otherwise, until next time, it's goodbye from me.